And that also reminds me of there's a famous quote by Coco Chanel about, before you leave the house, look in the mirror and take one item off, right? I think the same thing can go with our
Oh,
decor in our home, right? So set it up how you like it and then take one item out and see if that feels better. So sometimes we over
over
decorate.
embellish, over
Hmm.
decorate, over prepare sometimes.
Welcome to Reframe and Reclaim. We are Courtney Huckabee, a psychotherapist,
and Jen Harris, an interior designer
who have teamed up to reflect,
challenge,
and reframe your mindset in relationship with your personal belongings. Find the reframe.
start your reclaim.
Hello again, and welcome back to another episode of Reframe and Reclaim. I'm Jen Harris.
And I'm Courtney Huckabee.
And I don't know if you know this, but April is actually National Decorating Month.
So fun.
Right?
So fun.
Well, it's perfect timing, right? Because we kind of do our spring cleaning in March. We get
Yes.
that big push. And so this is a time to really go back and inspect your spaces, one of our steps in the Reframe and Reclaim book. So inspect your space and see how you can, freshen it up, because you don't have to buy all new things in order to make a space feel new. You can do a really easy retail trick, which is to rotate your items. And what that does is it just makes it look new and fresh, but it's the exact same items. So today I really wanted to dive deep into one space where people decorate a lot.
Mhm.
That's bookcases and bookshelves.
Oh,
So this is a really fun space that's really easy. You can do it in an afternoon to take things off, clean it, and put it back in a way that feels new and fresh.
I like that.
So how your bookcases in your home do you display items on them? Is it all books? What do your
We have
bookcases look like?
so many books in our home. I am a
Mm.
book reader. My husband's an avid reader, and our son is becoming a very avid reader. So they used to have more things displayed, but now the things displayed have just moved higher and higher to the top where, our son can't reach. And as his books take up more and more space. So optimally, we would love for it to be a little mix of both, but currently it's more functional for books, and our decor is higher up.
Yes, I have been in that chapter of life. I've been recently promoted out of that chapter of life, so I totally understand where you're coming from. But it is a good time to again refresh if you are at a space where you can do that. In a few years, you'll be able to.
Yeah. And what we try to do with our books is make sure they're organized well. So,
Mhm.
like, my son's book all stay on his shelf, and my husband's let's go to his shelves. Or I may take some books out that I've already read, or I know I'm not going to read again, and donate them. So we do that every few months.
So you guys organize your shelves by the end user.
Yes.
It sounds like.
Mhm.
Other ways to organize your bookshelves. One, I think it's kind of controversial way is a few years ago, everybody was turning their books backwards, right? And so you would just see the pages of the books. So that way it gave a really uniform, clean, like white or cream colored display. But you can't see what books they are. So to me, that's a good technique if you know you're never going to read these books. But for avid
Just for
readers or
display.
people, it's just for display. Yes.
Yes. Aesthetics.
And so that's not my personal favorite, but that is an option. So you could organize it by who reads the book. You can organize it just all monochromatically. You can organize it by color. A lot of people do rainbow, like the home edits, or
Yes.
Roy G. Biv is just always just a really good go-to for our eyesight to see
Yes.
the colors, right? Because that's just how we naturally see it in nature. Another way to arrange it is by height. So you can really have a lot of fun with this. So you could do tallest to shortest. You could do short to tall to short. So it's almost like a hill.
Like
so
a
it gives a little
wave.
texture.
Mhm.
You could do, if it's two bookcases, you can do tall on the inside going to short on the outside, or flip it. So that way it gives that effect with two bookcases. You can also organize it by author or by title. If you want to do it alphabetically, that takes a little bit more time. But I feel like that style of organizing is really for someone who remembers all the titles and the authors of the books, and usually people who reread the same books over and over again. So you could do it by genre as well. And then you can also separate it by your hardbacks and your paperbacks. And so that also gives you a nice visual clarity too, because usually your paperbacks are about the same height and your hardbacks tend to be the
Yeah.
same dimensions.
I'll say in our
So.
office, we do have a bookshelf for therapists to use, and we have a bookshelf for our clients to use, like if we're doing bibliotherapy with any children. And we
Mm.
have it organized by genre. So we may have like emotions, and we may have mindfulness, we may have families, we may
Yes.
have, challenges or, different things like that. So I definitely find myself being more of a functional organizer, like use of things or how to find things easily or making sure that things are grouped in
Mhm.
functionality. But I love the idea of like an angular or like a shape to just like the books. That sounds
Yes.
fun.
Another thing you can do, we do like in my kids' bookshelf, is we'll stack all the books of like a similar height together, and then we'll take another collection, so a grouping. Ones I really like is like little golden books
Oh,
because the spines are all
yes,
gold and pretty,
yes.
right? And I turn those horizontally, and so that makes a nice just gold block.
Yeah.
And breaks it up, and then it also acts as a bookend, so it holds the other
True.
books in places. But doing little mini collections like that, if you have a whole series of books, stacking them horizontally
Mhm.
is also a really nice way to display.
A little visual appeal.
Yeah, and just add some variation. Lets your eye move through the bookcase. And then I find that's easier to find books because your eye is having a place to land instead of just like book. And that also goes into giving yourself some space in your bookcases. Don't stack them all the way full if you can. Sometimes that's not always an option. My kids' room, it's not an option. But really trying to only fill it, kind of go back to that 80-20 rule. I would say like 70 to 80%, give it some openness. And then you can really play with that and choose a theme, like have something to display. So you could do it with painting the backside of your bookcases.
Oh,
Maybe it's with a
yeah.
pop of color. I've done patterned wallpaper, which is really fun. Really nice way to just add some visual interest and some texture. You can also display like all one color. It's like this shelf is only going to be all white items or all black items, or
A
pick any color.
monochrome.
So do a monochromatic color scheme. Another theme you could do is showing a collection, right? So my stomach is like, I need a collection of food to be put into me.
Me too.
But maybe it's, a collection of your favorite things.
Yes.
Things that you display in your office, or all travel souvenirs, or maybe it's things you found on the beach or in the forest if you go hiking a lot. So I think that's also a fun way to give the bookcase a uniform look without it necessarily being all books and not necessarily all being the same item. So I also like to, going back to like putting a pattern on the back of the bookcase, you can also do this just with artwork, right? So you can layer pieces of artwork on top of each other, or you see it a lot in kitchens where people layer cutting boards, right, on countertops. So you can do that same kind of effect with artwork in your bookcase. And I recommend doing something that's like an abstract piece or an overall pattern as like your back image, and then putting something in front that's either a landscape or maybe it's a family photo or something that you really want people to look at. Yeah. So the image that you want more focus on at the front, and then the more just overall pattern background behind it.
I never thought about that. I like that idea though. It's very artistic.
Yeah.
Very artistic.
And you can also use your collection items as bookends, right? Like I talked earlier about doing book collections horizontally, but you could take family photos and use that as a bookend. You could take a rock you found on your hike that's a cool shape. Like I found a heart-shaped rock once, put that on the bookcase. So that's always fun. And then I recommend always, I know everybody hears this a lot, but grouping items in odd numbers, it just works better visually for our brains. But I like clustering things in 3s or 5s. So I might put a stack of books in the center, and then horizontally or vertically, and then I might have a collection over here with like a vase and a little tchotchke or something I've collected, and then like a picture frame, and repeat that on the other side. So
nice.
And you can do really symmetrical if you like really orderly looks in your home and aesthetics, or you can do it asymmetrical and have more variations.
Mhm.
So it's really open to interpretation of what you like, but you just have to find, the main thing is finding items that you love and being able to display them. And then when people come over, they're going to look and be like, oh, what's this about? Tell me the story of this item. Why is this out? And
And
so,
I really love how you're talking about you don't have to go and buy all this
yeah,
new
no.
decor. You can, what we've done for artwork and stuff is when my son makes a new drawing or artwork, we like display it in our picture frames and he gets to choose what picture is displayed each time. But like, if you find something or if you get a
Hmm.
souvenir on a trip or something, that can be your display of art or your display of decor. And we've done that so much in our
Yeah.
house. Like a lot of times when we travel, we bring home a painting or we bring home a cutting board or we bring home a shell. And then it becomes part of what we display. And there is the story that you tell,
Hmm.
which is super fun to remember all those memories.
And then as you're walking by, you'll spot it and be like, oh, I remember that. And they'll just quickly bring up that memory. But it's just a little pop of joy, a little pop of, happiness as you walk
Yeah,
by.
I like that a lot.
Whereas before it's just a sea of books and, it's all one, visually, it looks like all one item. And so you're not really
Yeah.
seeing the specific items and really acknowledging those.
And our brain, like you say, chunks. Like our brain
Hmm.
really only is able to like chunk about 7 things at once. And so if you have like 20 books, it's harder to kind of differentiate each of those. But I love your idea of 3, 5 different
Hmm.
things in a grouping. And then that way you can really display and see and highlight each of those things without them getting lost.
And this is, if you do this, it might take a lot of editing and it might take a lot of evaluating and really, calling it down to what you really love and what you really want to display. But it really does, at the end of the day, feel better because it feels like you. It feels like it's telling a story. It feels like
Yes.
more like your home and not just a bookcase with books in it.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I will say, for us, we have gone through our January decluttering challenge, we've gotten rid of a lot of decoration that really has just been placeholders.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as we have emptier spaces, we're kind of sitting and evaluating, what we want that space to feel like or what we want that space to look like. And it's okay to have things that are undecorated, and then making sure you find something that really fits the space instead of just having a space holder.
Yes, yes. And just because you have space doesn't mean you have to fill it.
Yes.
That's another big thing. So some ideas for, adding some decor items in. Again, we talked about themes, but I would limit your colors to 3 to 5 colors. I would, unless you're doing like a whole rainbow and then you're going to be covering all the colors. But if you simplify your color palette, that also helps to tell another story. And then you can layer in different materials. So maybe you layer in some colored glass to add pops of color, or maybe you layer in, some natural baskets and woven things and plants, and that way you can add some more texture and visual interest without with staying in that theme and color story.
And I think the idea of the colors, like we've talked about before, is, colors, there is a psychology of colors too. So if you want your room to be vibrant, what are those
Mm-hmm.
vibrant, vivid colors? If you want your space to be calming, what are some of those more calming, soothing things? And if you want your place to feel energized, what are you doing in that space? And so making sure it feels how you want it to feel when you're in that space too.
Yes. And there's lots of hacks online and things you can see where people have added arches to their bookcases or added molding to make it look like a true built-in. Like they'll take an IKEA bookcase and make it look like it's a custom built-in. So there's lots of things like that where you can add more visual interest. And maybe if you don't like a pattern on the back, you add some board and batten or just some other shiplap. They have really they have the large sheets that they sell at just any home improvement store. You can easily layer on the back. So I just think bookcases are a really nice landing spot for your eye. It's a
Yes.
really nice space to tell a story and make your home feel however you want it to feel. Again, whether it's vibrant and
Yeah.
bright or
Yeah.
it's warm and cozy, it just helps to tell that story. Another trick that a lot of people don't think about as well is ugh, instead of pushing books to the back of the bookcase, if you pull them to the front, then it fills that space more. You don't have to dust quite as much, but then it
Oh.
brings everything forward, and then it just gives a little bit more impact. So
I like that. Yeah. I will say, like, I like the idea of like just talking specifically about bookshelves because, like you said, it doesn't just have to hold books, it can hold, pictures and
Hmm.
mementos and memories. And it really is functional. And so many people use shelves in their home, whether it's, a bookshelf they bought or built in shelves. And so I love that you can repurpose them with just what you have in your house by
Yes.
taking something, like you said, we're just reviving it or we're changing the aesthetic by using what you already have in your home.
And if you have a ton of books, maybe you're able to use the lower 3 feet. Maybe those are all stacked out and filled, but where people are going to visually see and have at their eye level, that's where
Yeah,
you play with the spacing and take some of the books out.
I like that a lot.
So
Very fun. Great ideas.
thanks. Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Is there any certain space in your house that you tend to decorate more in the spring or that you like to have empty in the spring? 'Cause I know sometimes a lot, like with Christmas, it's all about maximalism and kind of overdone. And in the springtime, a lot of people want to pull back and just have clean surfaces and not a lot of visual clutter.
I will say one thing that I've learned as I've become an adult is there's a lot of wonderful decorators in this world. I am not one of them, but I do love just like simple things that I can keep out all year long. And so
Mm.
the only time I actually change my decor is typically with the holiday seasons. However, this last year, since the beginning of the year when we did our declutter challenge, we're actually revisiting the actual just daily decor. And so that's been really
Mm.
fun for me is, living with a space that is clear and like evaluating how it feels and what I envision that I want in that space, whether it's, picture frames or mementos or a new portrait on the wall. And so we've actually have a lot less decoration in our house right now. And I'm feeling like more grounded in the house.
Mm.
So I don't want to add anything at this moment that is just like an impulse add. I really want to make sure it feels calming and soothing and like refreshing when I walk in. I've been really feeling that in the house and I want to continue that. So
It's very intentional. Yeah.
very intentional. And when we do find something, I'm excited that it will fit and be there. But as we move one thing, there's like another space we're like wanting to redo. And so we haven't purchased anything new for our house, but we are definitely taking things out
Mm.
and down, which has been something we haven't done for 6 years, which is fun.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
And it's amazing too. Like that was another big reframe and takeaway when we were writing the book is taking the time whenever it's all cleaned out and empty to really sit in it. Because I am a recovering maximalist. I'm not a minimalist by any means. And so being able to sit in the empty and appreciate it and really reflect that my brain is calmer when there's less there
Mm-hmm.
and leaning into that. And
Definitely.
then again, decorating with more intention and saying, okay, well, what is this going to look like? And that also reminds me of there's a famous quote by Coco Chanel about, before you leave the house, look in the mirror and take one item off, right? I think the same thing can go with our
Oh.
decor in our home, right? So set it up how you like it and then take one item out and see if that feels better. So sometimes we over
Over
decorate.
embellish, over decorate, over prepare sometimes.
And you can take all these tips and stuff that we've shared today, and you can apply it to anything besides just bookcases. Maybe it's a countertop by your coffee, or maybe it's your dresser in your bedroom where you just have a tray with like your perfumes and you group your perfumes and chapsticks and 3-year lip glosses. So there's a way to aesthetically arrange your items that feels and looks better. So
It feels good. I think
yeah.
that's the most important part of your home is does it feel like you? Like when I first moved into my home, I wasn't a mom and I had lots of different decor. And now we have new items in our house and a new person in our house. And I'm in a new chapter of life. And so the things that I used to have in my home don't always continue to in my
Mhm.
next chapter of life. And that's okay. It's not that it was bad before. It's just
Right.
I want to make sure that everything reflects how I feel and what I want to be in my house. The same as your closet would, and the
Yes.
clothes you wear, and your hairstyle, and the fashions of, the culture. Is this a fashion I want to follow, or I want to be more comfortable. And so I think it's really important not to compare with what everyone else is doing.
And not
Um,
even compare to yourself from the past
right,
either.
right, and it is hard, but you know what? Some people are, getting new decor every year. And I think it's wonderful if that feels right and fits right for you. For me, it's not. And so it's okay to take something that maybe from the consignment store that I find is beautiful, or maybe I go and I'm reusing something in one room and moving it to another room, or taking things down and out and not replacing it. Those are also other ways to redecorate and revitalize a space.
I helped a client once who collected globes from all over because they were a pilot. And so their family used to collect globes from different places they traveled. And so this bookcase was a big double bookcase, and it was just all globes mixed in with books. And it was so visually impactful, really told the story of their career and their family and the travels they went on. And it's fun, and it's
Yes.
just fits them to a T. So
Not me in my home. I'd probably be overwhelmed with all the globes. But again, not my story, not my home, not my chapter. And I think it's really important that you think of that for yourself too.
yes. So this month, April, as you're celebrating National Decorating Month, what space are you going to redecorate, revitalize, or keep as is? You're just going to refresh it a little, or do you already have it set in a happy way that you love and enjoy? So it's all up to you.